Welcome everyone to Dead Talk Live, and tonight we have a very special guest. Ashley Bell is with us. Ashley, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. Thank you for being here with us, and let's just get started right away.
Yes.
You had a movie come out this year, Witch Hunt. First of
Yeah.
all, how recently did that come out?
It's actually out today.
Oh, premiere day.
Yes.
Awesome.
Today
Okay.
is today's game day for Witch Hunt. Yeah, and honestly, there's like no other place I would love to be spending October 1st. So thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for doing this. This is totally awesome, and the timing worked out great. I saw on your
Yeah.
Instagram, I saw the trailer previously, but I saw that you posted it on your Instagram. The film was written and directed by Elle Callahan,
Yes.
and it stars Elizabeth Mitchell. I'm a big fan of Elizabeth Mitchell's work. I think she's great. What were
She's
you?
wonderful.
What were
I
you?
had my scenes with her. She was incredible. Yeah.
Ah, she's just such a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
Now, when you got this script, what did you think of the concept of modern day America dealing with a 17th century issue and how it was handled?
That's what got me. I mean, from reading the script, I said, oh my God, I have to be a part of this. And I'm so flattered that they reached out. I mean, I think Elle is not only a brilliant writer, she ran an incredible set. And the film is really spooky and yet deals with witches with kind of this like a this political subcurrent. It was in South by Southwest both years because in 2020 they canceled South by
Hmm.
Southwest. So in 2021 they actually brought the film back to like give it its official premiere, which didn't happen with everything
That's awesome.
because I think it makes such a cool statement on the current affairs of things. And it uses horror. Elle uses horror to just innovate in that way. Horror audiences are so smart. They're constantly looking for that new take on things. And this was a really cool project to be a part of.
So,
Um,
for our
mhm.
audience that wants to know where to find it, where is
Yes.
it available?
Yeah, it's available in select theaters on Apple TV and video on demand
Awesome.
starting today.
So people
Yes.
can go to Amazon Prime or Vudu and buy or rent it.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it's wherever you can normally, buy movies on demand, it's right there. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So basically, do you like the spin that they took of basically the modern day world and incorporating 17th century punishment where witches are real and witchcraft is outlawed? And yeah, granted, you're not burnt at the stake, I assume. I haven't watched the movie yet.
Well,
Okay.
somebody had to sit through 4 hours of makeup, so there might be some burnings taking place. I don't-
Nice. Nice.
yeah, I mean, I love it. That's what stuck out for me was using the genre and then playing up something that's happening in present day, but with that, making a message out of it and using actual witchcraft as the focus point. It's very interesting.
I know and the and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
trailer looks really, really good.
Everybody's so good in it. I mean, Elle's such a good director. Everybody was, I was only on set briefly, and everybody was such a joy to work with, and the performances are just so extraordinary that when you sit down, you can feel like it's going to be a good movie, and then the spooks start coming, and it's like, oh, this is a perfect October Friday night
Well, I know
movie
exactly how to
to do a shameless plug.
well, I know how I'm spending my night after the show tonight. I'm going to
Nice.
definitely watch it. Now, as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of Elizabeth. Did you have
Yeah.
scenes with her? What was it like working with her?
I did. I did have scenes with her. She's great. She's so natural, and just the way, watching her work on set, she just has such an energy that calms everybody and gets her onto her page
Mm-hmm.
in that way. And there's just a level, when it starts from the top like that, and there's just that level of control and just truth in a scene, it emanates so quickly into the other performances. So it was really a joy to be on set with her and share a scene. Yeah.
Now, what would you say for the people that are going to watch this film? Is there like a social commentary in there on the state of the modern world that we can all take away from this?
There totally is. There totally is. There's a very strong social commentary. And I love that. I mean, I think why not have art if you can't push the boundaries like that? And I always have felt horror is kind of the more experimental of the genres where you can really get out there, and why not push that limit with
Mm-hmm.
horror? Horror, thriller, or play with those play with that medium.
Exactly. Now,
Yeah.
you have a very extensive horror resume. Are you a fan of the genre? Did horror come find you, or did you seek out horror?
Well, so I am a fan of the genre. I mean, my summers, I'm born and raised in LA, were spent like weekends were spent walking down to Blockbuster, or my dad would walk, I would be on my scooter, and we would just raid the horror aisle and watch like The Gremlins and Pumpkinhead and Creature from the Black Lagoon, and just everything. The Exorcist when I was like 8. That was a bad idea. A lot of awakeness happened after that. And yeah, I always loved it. I loved Pumpkinhead. I loved Jaws. I loved the suspense. And the thrill of it, the thrill you get, yes, when you're sitting alone, as we all have had to do in COVID, but in a movie theater where you're collectively there and you collectively go on this ride. I studied, when I was like studying to become an actor, I went to NYU, and my mom actually founded the Groundlings in LA. So a lot of my training has been theater and comedy, but improv, which
Mm-hmm.
improv is listening. It can be used in anything. And when the last Exorcism came along, they were looking for a newcomer that people didn't recognize, so they could get away with this found footage film, that there would be no preconceived, notions of who that actress was.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy. I was in LA at that moment. My agents got me that audition, and the rest was fate.
And we're gonna
Yeah.
get into the lax exorcism a
Yes.
lot
Yes.
more in a
Yes.
little bit. So you studied at NYU Tisch.
Yes. Mhm.
How like critical was that to your career? Would you say walking away from a theater background and getting training at NYU Tisch?
I would say it's pretty pivotal. I mean, growing up in LA, I did do like a lot of commercials in print as a kid, and my parents are in the business, and they were like, "Look, if you want to do this, you need to have longevity. You need to know where you come from
Mm-hmm.
and the greats, and how do you sustain a career beyond whatever the initial flash in the pan is, or how to make something work if you're in between jobs, which is like death." So going to NYU was everything, because it gave me a full appreciation for everybody on stage or in film, everybody down to looking at wardrobe, why those wardrobe choices, set, why that rug, why that television set, lighting, direction. Gave me a 360-degree appreciation. And then, I mean, at NYU, you got like student tickets at night. So you could go to studio during the day from like 9 to 6, and then take the subway up to Times Square and see Broadway shows for $20 and be like, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. And then go and try harder the next day.
You see, I didn't
Ah,
go to NYU, but I'm from New York City, and my
thought I said that.
playground was
Nice.
Greenwich Village, Washington Square Park.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, maybe one day NYU will make me an honorary, because I grew up there. That was my playground. That was where I hung out. Do you
Sure.
remember because NYU, Tish,
Yeah.
is the number one school, I guess, when it comes to film, acting, and whatnot. Do you remember your reaction when you got your acceptance letter?
Oh God, it actually came upside down. They invited me. I got an invitation to like an event in LA for people that had gotten in, but I didn't get the full acceptance letter. And that was like on a Friday.
Uh
So I
huh.
sat through the whole weekend as this just like nervous, neurotic 17-year-old being like, but did I get in? And then I just was so excited. If I didn't get into NYU, I would have just moved to New York and gotten in an acting studio like HB or Stella Adler, Strasberg, just an acting studio in New York,
Yeah.
and had committed to the 2-year conservatory program, because New York always. I remember going there as a teenager and just looking up, and I was like, how incredible is it to be in a city where you look up, that pushes you to look up and strive and aspire to be something,
Yeah.
and yes, that's a very 17-year-old thought, but I still, I mean, that's city carves you, and it
Exactly.
was so great,
Exactly.
so great.
Now, when you were wanted, when you were getting your training, what were your aspirations at that point? Was it theater? Did you know you did not want to do theater? Was it just film? What were you looking to do when you were in college?
Yeah, I was looking to move back to LA and do film or TV or honestly commercials. It really was to just be a working actor. And even right when I moved back to LA, I was doing theater in LA to just stay loose and keep working on my craft. Um, yeah, it was all the above.
and you're
Yeah.
and you're so blessed to actually get what you wanted
Oh,
and to be in films, and that's amazing. Now in
yeah.
2020 there was
Yep.
another movie that you were in, starred in, The Voices.
Yeah.
Not very much is known. I know it's out, it's been out for a year. Tell us
Yeah.
what The Voices is about.
The Voices is about I'm not starring in that one. I
Well,
it's
you
about
okay, because
yeah,
okay.
I'm so excuse me. Because I'm oh my God, this is terrible. I'm blanking on the lead actress because she did such an incredible job.
Here,
It's
let me
about a
get that.
woman.
I'll get that for
Yeah.
you.
Okay, thank you.
But go
It's
on,
about
go on.
yes, so I play
Jordan Ladd. I mean, you're
yes.
listed as top billing. Ashley Bell, Jordan Ladd, and Leslie Esterbrook.
Well, awesome. That's okay. Well, so the film is about the young girl who plays my daughter. We get in a car accident and she loses her sight, and she begins to be haunted as she, grows and develops. She begins to be haunted by these creatures and ghosts, and she has to confront all of her fears and confront these hauntings. Um, and that's what the film's about.
Awesome. Because the actual synopsis is very short. It says, "Don't
Oh,
believe everything you hear." And that's very tantalizing right there. Now, going back, a lot of people, like you said, when you did The Last Exorcism, you were a newcomer, and here you're handed this lead role. What were your feelings? Anxiety, fear? What were you feeling being handed a lead role to The Last Exorcism back in 2010?
I know. Um there I wanted it so badly. And um I I think what made the fears go away was in the callback meeting the director Daniel Stam, and from the moment of getting it, he was so hands-on with preparation. He
Mm-hmm.
was so hands-on with research and ideas, and um, I'd gotten all these books on exorcisms and actual accounts and listened to tapes, interviewed people. began going to Baptist churches. I really went. I mean, I love doing that stuff. That's for me. And there was a month of preparation time that I had to kind of explore this, and rolling up my sleeves in that sense, and being in kind of this like communication with him, it allowed me to focus on the work and less on the nerves. And that it was kind of divided between these two characters to prepare, like number one, preparing Nell, who was a teenager, and then, subtracting from her, figuring out what of my life would get, coming from like LA and New York, like subtracting all that, pulling all that out from her was so much fun. And then on the other hand, preparing Abalam, and just letting him or her, I always felt like it was a him, but whatever. The demon do whatever he wanted, whatever Abalam wanted to do. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I had my hands full. Yeah. And also that starts again from the top. Like Daniel ran such a great set, and then all the producers on board, like Eli Roth and Eric Newman, Mark Abraham, Bree Neiman, they were such conscientious. They had done major studio films, and this was like their first very low budget found footage film, which was like an experiment.
Yeah.
But they ran the set, the behind the scenes with that care and that involvement. So it really was a perfect situation down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to get it. We're going to get more because Patrick Fabian was your co-star, and I want to get more into him. But before that, in 2013, you did 3 Walking Dead webisodes, and a lot of people don't know that. Those webisodes, as the years went on, there are several of them have become really popular. What was it like getting that little taste of the Walking Dead universe?
I don't mean to sound like such a Pollyanna, but it really was amazing because Greg Nicotero directed those webisodes, and the Oath, the one I was in, written by Luke Passmore, who also wrote The Day that I did. He's such an incredible writer. This explains the mythology behind the big doors that you see that they, keep out, don't enter. And I mean, like, oh my God, working with Greg, like Greg broke my fingers as Nell in the last Exorcism. In The Walking Dead, Greg like pulled my teeth out and like turned me into a zombie. So it's The Walking Dead. So you kind of are like, oh my God, I got to bring it. but it's really fun to fall into because you get to like, when I got turned, they added these cheekbones and they whited out my eyes and they made like teeth molds, and that's all that fun movie magic stuff.
Yeah, and Greg loves doing he's amazing at it. He's amazing at directing and the makeup. Yeah. He really puts his heart and soul into everything he does.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, The Last Exorcism is not an underrated movie. It has gotten a lot of acclaim, but it is such an amazing movie that for me, it's still not highly regarded as I would like it to be. Do you agree with that, or do you think it got the proper recognition?
I mean, I do. I do like the film when it came out. Like, we got that opening weekend. I got a call on Saturday morning, and they're like, "It's my first movie," and they're like, "Hey, pack your bags. You're going to London tonight at 5." We wanted to make sure, like, and it was on the fence, but if it hit like the 1 or 2 position on Friday night, they were going to send us, and they did. Like, and then it was incredible because, like, not only did it hit, just like a popular, like, world of just like MTV Movie Award nomination and People's Choice nomination, but like the film got nominated for a Spirit Award, and I got nominated for an independent for a supporting actress for a Spirit Award, and that was an incredible way to start. And what an honor. So yeah, I feel like it had a fabulous life.
No, it did. And like I said,
Yeah.
it got a lot of recognition, but it's just such a great movie. It pioneered so many things. Nell, your character, was such a fascinating character. And of course, and that amazing plot twist ending. What did you think of that ending when you read it? And don't
I
worry, the spoiler expiration is
Yes,
well
yes,
past.
yes, right. I mean, giving birth to a demon baby and being used by my brother, like you can't like it's the perfect like Rosemary's Baby twist,
Hmm.
And I don't know. I just come out of theater school. I was like 2 years out of theater school, and I was like, "Great, let's do this." It was just like I just was so game.
What did you think of
Yeah,
the whole way they shot it in the found footage format?
that was so exciting because there was a whole other life that happened when you looked at the camera, you
Hmm.
know? And it was such from my character's point of view, it was so much fun because it was another way to manipulate the whole situation. And then Daniel finding moments of when to pin that camera intentionally was just like so much fun because to not like pin the lens on screen,
Yeah.
and in this you get free reign to do it. It's like it was very fun because it was like all rules were broken.
As an
What was kind of
actress, did they give you a
Yeah,
lot of leeway as to how to portray Nell?
totally, yeah, totally. But I feel that there was a callback, and there was an audition, and then a callback, and then just I fell into that groove quickly and just kind of stayed in that, just heightened and explored that working with the director. So
Hmm.
I was never kind of left to my own devices. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of improv on set, and a lot of changing things up, a lot of finding new words, finding new surprise elements and moments. Um,
So Nell
that they were
is
finding.
this young adult woman,
Ha,
but you portrayed her as a girl who has the emotional age of maybe 11, 12, 13. Is that what the script called for, or was that some of your doing as well?
I think I'm pretty sure that was the breakdown. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like she was around like 15, 16-ish in the
Hmm.
breakdown. I played her. I was like 21 when I played her, and um they asked like in the first callback or the first audition to come in with like absolutely no makeup, and had to have been very, be ready for improv to do. The first audition was like a lot of improv, and be ready to kind of come from that backwoods life, and
Yeah.
working with a father and working with like a family situation where things had definitely been broken, and her world kind of got even smaller.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So,
yeah.
Patrick Fabian, your co star,
Oh,
he's great. He's another one of my favorite actors. Did you find working with him really helpful? Was he helpful? What was it like working with Patrick?
Patrick was great. Patrick was great. I first saw him work in the oh my God, no, we met before going to Louisiana, and we went to a Baptist church in the valley one Sunday morning together to bond. And then we usually went off to New Orleans. But my first scene I saw him do was one of his preaching scenes,
Hmm.
and he just was incredible.
He
I mean, he
nailed
get
it.
on. he could get on a roll and just go, 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 go. It was, I mean, talk about perfect casting. My God.
One of my
He's such
perfect
a nice guy.
One of my favorite scenes is when he's outside talking to the crew and he says, I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to give him my grandmother's recipe for like, and he goes in and he does it. And I mean, he just nailed that role.
He did it. He did it. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Now, that was a very, it looked like physically grueling role for you. You were put like on top of a dresser, climbing up walls. How physically
Yeah.
grueling was it for you?
Um, it was, I mean, like it was definitely grueling. But I was so open to it because I came from theater school. So you're trained to, obviously use your whole entire body for theater school. So what I felt was so exciting, I'm very like I love being on stage. I love the physical aspect of it and of my training, and to have kind of my my first major shot out the gate require more than just than just doing a date scene, I guess. No offense to those. Those are wonderful and dynamic in their own right, but like to have the ability to use my whole body on camera was insane to have that opportunity. But yeah, so in the callback, they actually had me get exercised. So I was sitting in a chair and I asked to lay on the ground, and they were like, okay. And there was an actor in there that was going to be that was reading in and improvising as the priest. And we did a whole exorcism
Wow.
on the ground. And it was so much fun. And we all, got so intense. And then we all laughed so hard afterwards because we were in, casting office above like Santa Monica Boulevard. It was great. And then when we got to set, I'd been researching. So they gave me Nell's like red oxblood red Doc Martens beforehand to break them in. And I'd been doing research, and it said that like, people that are possessed, their body becomes like a battleground for the demon. It's almost like a puppet. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that would look like physically. So I put on these Doc Martens, and they were so heavy, it allowed me to move in like all these different weird directions. And I was like, oh, I think I can do this back bend. So the night before the exorcism scene, we were like staying at like a Marriott or, an extended stay hotel. I'm down by the cookies with Daniel, and he's like, are you ready for tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, I am. Oh, he's like, do you have any, like, what are your thoughts? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I can do this back bend maybe. And I do the back bend, and he's like, do that. You stay right there. We will change some things. Can you do that tomorrow? I was like, yes, 100%. And I had no idea it would kind of become a pivotal moment of the scene, and let alone the poster. But I have always been like hyperextended and double jointed, and they were totally open to incorporating that as part of
it's an asset. Yeah.
the day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely an
Yeah.
asset. And those Doc Martens were a pretty significant part of the movie because they were not yours. There were the producer, the woman who played the producer, and she gave them to you.
Yes.
And you never took them off.
Never. No. These were this like, I think I was like, they've been everywhere. They were like this forbidden treat that had seen the world that I hadn't seen yet, and they just were like the first taste of.
Did they let you keep them?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh, no, I know, but they kept them for like a reshoot or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say was some of the emotional and psychological challenges you had in playing Nell?
I think just I think there's sometimes if there would be like a back-to-back day of a hysterical scene, when you kind of gone the distance one day and then the next day you need to do a scene that tops that or hit that same emotional fervor. You just need to find a way to go deeper and pull something else up that works on the day.
Now,
You know?
shooting such a dark movie, would, when that day's shooting would wrap, would you guys and the rest of the cast or crew get together to lighten the mood, to keep things light? What would be done on set or off set to keep the mood light so everybody doesn't get too basically burnt out on doing such a dark film?
Totally. I mean, I have to give, like, that's where the whole producing team of Strike Entertainment, which has now since disbanded, but that's like Eric Newman, Mark Abraham, Bree Niemand. They would do dinners at the end of every week, and the whole cast and crew would be invited to come join. I celebrated a birthday over filming. I mean, they really took care of all of us to really bond as a family,
Yeah.
and it was just so cool to be a part of an environment like that and to see a set run that way. It was major goals to be like, oh wow, look at this family that's created. It's really beautiful. But yeah, and then like after the exorcism scenes, like it was so sweet. When I came back to the hotel, Patty, the line producer, had, with the Daniel and the executive producers, they'd got me like a couple bags of like lavender Epsom salts to soak in, and everybody, it was
That is
a
so
movie.
nice.
It was a movie, so they treated me really nice. Yeah, it was lovely. Yeah.
Now,
Mhm.
you did a lot of research for The Last Exorcism and how to get
Yeah.
into the character of Nell. Is that something that you continued on after The Last Exorcism for every character that came afterwards for you?
Yes. Yeah. It's my training. I did study. Yes, I studied improv, but I also studied like my primary acting training was at the Strasberg Institute, which is, a method training. Like, no, I do not stay in character. Honestly, at the end of the day, if I kind of am like, my goal is to, just nail the scene to the best I can. And then if I've done that, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a pizza. Like, let me laugh. There's always that feeling if you don't hit it how you want to hit it, you are agitated at the end of the
Yeah.
scene, the day, because you're like, damn it. But I'm always so happy when those big emotional kind of scenes happen and get out. You know what I mean?
And they go the way you want them to.
And they go the way I want them to. The director wants them to. But yeah, I just if I have the space to do it, I love preparing. I mean, but even if you have a quick preparation time, there's a way to do research that it's just something. I don't go fully into character on set, but doing the research is just what allows me to feel comfortable going on set and secure in knowing I'm gonna have done everything I could to prepare for the role and to just feel like I've earned my seat on set.
And
Do you
just,
know what I mean?
yeah, put it
Yeah.
all out there. Lay it all out on the table. Give it the best that you've got. How
Yeah.
long did shooting
Yeah.
take for the movie from start to finish?
I think it took a full month. Like a
And,
full month, almost like a month and a half-ish.
and
Like
like
or a
and
month and a hair. Like, yeah, we were there for like 4 full weeks. Like,
now,
yeah.
now you and Patrick are the two main stars of the film. And being in almost every scene, and Patrick being in almost every scene, was that just like a brand new experience for you?
Um, yeah, I mean, I didn't have much to compare it to, sadly to say. Um, so,
Was it what
Yeah,
you thought it would be? Was it like, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be to be, the co-star and to be in almost every scene? Did it live up to your expectations? Was it a lot harder than you thought it would be?
it beyond exceeded my expectations. And honest to God, I mean, like just to go back to the theater training I had, and even like being in LA and doing kind of plays back to back to back, just to work
Mm-hmm.
before this, it it just felt great. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, I mean, the role was so much fun to play, and then to just kind of escape into. And there was always like some new obstacle to go through on set.
So you found yourself, the movie was pushing your limits, your creative, I guess, talents,
Yeah.
and pushing you into new directions.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. Because I mean, also it was very clear. Like every scene had a clear objective where
Mm-hmm.
some horrible thing was going to happen, or somebody was going to be, you know, played or manipulated,
Mm-hmm.
or the demon was going to do something. And it was so much fun to kind of be in on that. And all of, the way Daniel did it. And I'm working with actors like Louis Herthum, who's
Mm-hmm.
since blown up on Westworld, and like Caleb Landry Jones, who's just has an incredible career. Patrick, so Iris Barr,
Yeah.
the producer, who played the producer role. So to be there and to have all of us, and to just kind of, Daniel very much said it like okay, this is the play. This is like the soccer field. Like, who's against each other? Go for it, And that was
Yeah.
very crystal clear, our purpose in every moment, and to kind of have that direction was just life saving. You know what
So
I mean?
yeah,
It kept
I totally
everything.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Now, shooting is done. Now, take us to the premiere. Do you remember? Did you first watch the finished product at the premiere of the film? Did you get a peek before it? What did when did you first see the finished product?
The first time I saw the finished product was, it had a premiere at the Ford Amphitheater, which in LA, it's this big outdoor amphitheater,
Mm-hmm.
and it was during the LA Film Festival, and it was under like the night sky, and that's the first time I saw it. And I, honest to God, I scared myself because it had been like a year, and I was like, this is terrifying. So,
So
I
watching
yeah,
it,
uh-huh.
did you, were you critical of yourself, or did you like, I really nailed this. I'm proud of this. I'm proud of the work I did. What were your feelings?
Yeah, that was my first experience, like majorly watching something of mine. Everything up to that had been like a Tyco commercial, or like um, a co-star. So this was, and yeah, I watched just, because it's this is not a reflection of the film. This is just like for me watching myself. You
Mm-hmm.
you do so much on set, and that's where your job ends, and you hand over every day everything you've got
Mm-hmm.
to the vision of the film, as well as does every single person on that set doing their job. Like, it's a miracle to make a movie when you think of it, and
Yeah.
everybody's doing their job 100%, and your job is to just hand it over, deliver it and hand it over. So to see it then assembled, you're like, whoa, that's what they did. And yeah, there was definitely that first time watching it, a self-conscious element to it, because it was just such a different world on set. You know what I mean? But I've gotten better. But to this day, I still, like, in early screenings of films, I will like hide. I will hide behind my. I literally look like I'm watching a horror movie, because you're
You're
always,
nervous.
you're nervous. You're
Yeah.
so nervous. You're in your head. It's different than what you the experience you were going through, and it should be. That's the medium. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoken to a lot of filmmakers, actors, and whatnot, and when they go watch a film that they were involved in the theaters, I hear
Yeah.
them, they're trying to gauge the audience's reaction. Did you find yourself doing that?
Um, like, so this was what was so cool again with the whole, like, Lionsgate, once they picked it up, and then the whole producing team that was on it for the opening night, like they arranged literally most of us were in Los Angeles. They literally arranged for a car to come and for us all to pack in and movie hop and surprise people outside of the theater.
That is
And
such a cool idea.
isn't that like Lionsgate? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody was in there. All the producers that, were in town. Eli Roth was there himself, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
going. And we would movie hop, and it was so much fun to watch, to be a part of that like collective experience of spying on an audience, seeing if they get scared, seeing when their shoulders jump, hearing the laughter, hearing people, scream things at the screen.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, what a great, like all of my firsts, to have that be a first was just such a great experience to be a part of,
Exactly.
you
Get in
know?
there with the fans, watch it with
Exactly.
them, engage their reaction. So
Exactly.
when did
100%. Yeah.
you and the rest know that, oh man, we got a hit here? Was it right after that opening weekend when it, was like what, number one, number two?
Yeah, it was after Thursday night and Friday night. Like around Friday night, it was already at number one, and they were really like, around like midnight, 1 o'clock. They were really like, dear, dear God, we have a hit.
We have a hit. We have a hit. So, uh, did you know
Yeah.
before it came out that there was going to be a sequel or afterwards? When did that come into play?
No, not at all. It was very much. I mean, I never. They might have had ideas that they had kept under wraps. But it was after it came out, about a year and a half, they began to talk about it, conversations that I were privy to.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the rise of YouTube, and like more, found, like, this film came out, in context to anybody listening in and watching, like, this came out right after Paranormal 1 came out. And yes, Blair Witch had been out,
Yeah, well,
but
Blair Witch came out in the 90s. Yeah.
yeah, in the 90s, yeah. But you were really getting this like steady roll of this found footage film
Mm-hmm.
making, and these devices. And so when like YouTube was happening, and leakings of things were happening, when they found the device to leak the first film as a YouTube leak, while Nell was in,
Mm-hmm.
a mental rehabilitation. Poor thing. I was like, wow, it's a great story. It makes complete sense. Wow, I want to play this character again. The first one was, I mean, God, what a dream. What a
Yeah.
dream. So yeah, it evolved, like, again, the team involved is so smart. They wouldn't have entered into it if they didn't think they had a story to substantiate it. And
Exactly.
yeah, they were able to do it.
Did you
Yeah.
approach Nell in the sequel differently than in the original?
Um, yes. Yes, differently. Yes, because she got older. And she was more on the rebound. She was more on the rebound of this love. No, I'm joking. She was trying to see where I was at. She was, yeah, she was on she, things weren't, things were happening around her, things that were hauntings. Things
Mm-hmm.
weren't necessarily possessing her. It was like looking to get in. And that was a very different approach than
Yeah.
kind of blacking out and waking up and seeing this havoc,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. So there was a different the script had different, it just had different requirements for this leak and she was also trying to live. It was also so important for that character to like date and to try to be normal, and she was, in the teenage years. So 2 years is mega.
Yeah.
So, especially for her who is
trying
never
to have relationships too.
Yes. So like to never have like worn makeup or heard music, like, those were all seismic activities for her. And that's so much fun to play.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you feel like your improv training has helped you in your entire acting career?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%, because it teaches you how to listen, acting is reacting. And then on top of things, if you go off script, when there's space for that on set and when it's appropriate to do that. And, I'm not saying go off script willy nilly, but when it's time to do that, you have the characters in an inner monologue going on inside your head. So it's helpful if you're improvising to lift out of that and go to what the character would be saying and speaking.
Exactly.
And feel comfortable with that. Yeah.
Now, playing somebody who is demonically possessed, did you use any past films like The Exorcist as inspiration, like maybe Linda Blair's character or any other characters to try to hit something that they did into your character?
Yeah, the funniest thing when Daniel Stam when we were talking and preparing, he's like, I want you to look at all the Exorcism movies and then don't do that. I think I saw the film that was really creepy to me was Possession.
Oh yeah, with J.D. Morgan, right?
Yes.
They're coming out with a part 2?
That's what I saw recently. Mm-hmm. Incredible. That film was so scary.
It was.
Yeah.
And what makes it scary is the concept with the box. It's sort of loosely based off a real life story, which even makes it even more scary.
That's right. Yes. Well, yeah. And back to that real story, like Daniel more pushed me in the direction of, yes, reading accounts of exorcisms and seeing what, really creepy things would happen. But also to really find any excuse to have what's happening to Nell be real, whether it's mental illness or a psychotic break, a form of schizophrenia, a form of a character, a personality break out of the grief of her mother passing, to have any of those other things be what could be pointed to by Patrick Fabian's character Cotton as no, it's this, until I was literally giving birth to a demon baby engulfed in flames, and it was not that anymore.
In a lot of films, the ending can either make or break the movie. The Last Exorcism was a great movie, and then when you got to the ending, it made it that much better. Because the ending did not disappoint, where you find out that pastor is this head of this satanic cult that is welcoming this demon baby into the world. Yeah. When your impressions when you first read that, were you like, whoa, this is wild, this is good, this is new. What did you think of that ending and that particular part of the ending?
Yes, definitely. I know at the time they were trying out several alternate endings, and that was one of them. And they equally were all innovative. And I was very much like, I don't know, I just was so gung-ho. I was like, yeah, let's do this. That 100% makes sense. And also just knowing Rosemary's Baby, I was like, that makes total logic. That makes complete and total logic. So
now moving forward in your It does make logic, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
ending. I'm so glad they picked that ending. If they had
yes,
others in mind, I'm glad they went with that one. Now,
yes.
moving forward in your career, uh, is your ambitions to stay in front of the camera? Do you have any ambition to do any work behind the camera? What are you thinking?
Yeah, very much. I mean, what was so exciting about, again, about Nell, and I know I've just kind of nonstop rave, but it really was that kind of a dream experience as
Hmm.
I've gone on about, but it allowed me to play a character role, to enter even into horror and into acting as a character. So what led on, from that was other like character based, yes, genre movies and also, comedies and romance films, like something that could have me, yes, be an ingenue or a lead in it, but give it a little bit of pepper, give it like a
Hmm.
little bit of a wrinkle in it, which was so much fun. I went, after that, I did go back to New York to do Machinelle on Broadway.
Hmm.
That was an incredible experience. That was kind of a break from genre. And when I came back, I did Mickey Keating's film Carnage Park, which was like
Yes.
a return to genre that I hadn't done in a while. Again, like Mickey and I have done, two films together. He was an incredible director to work with. But yes, through this all, well, right when I was in Broadway, when I was on Broadway, I launched an Indiegogo campaign to fundraise for a documentary I was directing, and that has since come out. It's called Love and Bananas, an Elephant Story.
Yep.
It's a documentary about the rescue of a 70-year-old partially blind Asian elephant and her journey 500 miles across Thailand to freedom at an elephant sanctuary. And I directed, wrote, produced, and produced with the team, and was the host to be the catalyst for the audience into this world. And I mean, talk about improv training. I Everything I learned from the groundlings I was doing on documentary set, in real life. I guess I don't think there are sets for documentaries, but because it all required listening, and I would hear stories that would be told to me that I was allowed to bring up again on camera, and listening and responding and being that person for whoever I was interviewing to play off of, and
Yeah.
to kind of lead them to a story they've told me in the past, but to capture on camera
Yeah.
was everything. And also just it's so hard. I had a plan of what I wanted the film to look like. Sure, I had a plan of what I wanted the day to look like, and then everything gets thrown out the window for documentary. So
You got to
to
be
be able
very
to
flexible.
stop and like listen to what story the elephants want to tell me, which would be very direct, or like just honestly which way the air was going, if it was dangerous, if it
Yeah.
was safe, if there was literally a monsoon happening.
It sounds
So
like a
yeah,
great experience. We're almost out of
fabulous.
time, but
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
want to ask you, now that it looks like we're gonna have to learn to live with COVID for a while, longer at least, and Hollywood is changing very rapidly. They're in a state of flux, trying to refine their footing. What is the environment out in LA right now in regards to, acting and auditions? Are things really down? Are they up? What's the state of play out there?
Um, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's rough. It's not as rough as working frontline in a hospital,
Yeah.
being a first responder. I honestly have to say I'm very grateful for the profession I'm in, because it is the creative profession, and every actor anybody in this world, if you have a fingerprint, you have your own individuality, and that means you have your own story to tell.
Yeah.
And all my life, being in groundlings, being in school, and since I've always written. So to be able in COVID, yes, I had to shift gears from, sure, not being able to participate on camera as much, and yes, for a period of time, auditions were sparse,
Mm-hmm.
but to be able to turn in and be like, okay, what are the stories I'm too scared to tell? Or to just talk to fellow filmmakers and be like, where are you at? God, I want to make something. Let's make, what art do you want to make? You know, where were we drifting before COVID, thinking, oh, we have to do X, Y, and Z to accomplish, you know, to jump through X, Y, and Z hoops in our ideal career.
It's pushing innovation now.
What story do you want to tell? How, you know, back to indie filmmaking, which, yes, there's a huge divide between, you know, mega movie sets, but also there is a way to, you know, are you really in it for the craft of things? Are you really in it for storytelling? Are you really in it to be pushed to the limits as an actress or a writer? You know, or if you're not there yet, who can you talk to, or what maybe workshop or class can you take to dig deeper in yourself to go like, okay, things are quiet. How can I, you know, yes, it's difficult, but like look within and maybe unlock something that could help me get to that next role, or give truth to that next character I'll have the opportunity to play. So
that's beautifully said. I mean, that's that's perfect. That in my opinion, that hits the nail right on the head. Ashley, man, this hour flew by. This has been a fascinating conversation. You're a wonderful person. This has been a wonderful chat.
Yes.
Looking back, I'm going to give you a really easy question. Was the last Exorcism the biggest break in your career, would you say?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
totally. And there have been, like, Broadway was right after that, I'd have to say, because it's Broadway, you know.
Exactly.
It's like dream level. Yes, and that just opened the door to it was such a validation, getting that role, and then, you know, you can never predict getting recognized, you know, and then when that happened, wow, what an honor, what just an affirmation to just say, keep going, you know.
And tonight I am going to watch Witchcraft.
Yes, enjoy.
I'm not kidding. I'm going to watch Witchcraft. I want to thank Ashley Bell for being our guest. It's been a fascinating chat, an hour. I want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in live and archive when you guys watch this later on. Any final thoughts you want to share?
Don't stop creating.
Exactly. No matter what the obstacles, COVID pushes innovation.
Take a step sideways if you have to, but don't give up. Everybody has a story in them. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me. It's always, I mean, to be so many years out from this film and to still be asked about it, it means always the world. So I'm very happy to come tonight and very happy to share about Witch Hunt. What perfect timing. So thank you.
It's been our pleasure. Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you to Ashley. Thank you to you guys. Have a great weekend. Till next week, stay safe and stay walking. Good night.
Yeah. Cheers. Good.